Was desegregation the 20th century's abolition of slavery? In Silent Covenants, critical race theorist Derrick Bell describes similarities between Brown versus Board of Education and the Emancipation Proclamation. Obviously, the Emancipation Proclamation ended slavery in the 1860s, theoretically on paper. In the early 1950s, Brown versus Board of Education was an American Supreme Court ruling that desegregated black schools and white schools. Derek Bell says that they're both classic examples of the interest convergence phenomenon. Emancipation Proclamation was the first federal action on the behalf of black people. It was accomplished through executive action, and it couldn't have been done any other way. The courts probably wouldn't have ended slavery because it was protected by the Constitution. Congress feared political consequences of abolishing it. Abraham Lincoln was extremely reluctant or hesitant to push through the Emancipation Proclamation by executive action because that was like a major deal back then to do executive actions. They had done by every president all the time now. He only did so very reluctantly. Also, similarly to slavery abolition, black and white school desegregation was not a magic fix with the stroke of a pen. It took way longer for the culture and people to accept and obey the new laws. The disproportionate educational outcomes um, were not addressed until much later. Much later, I said until a long time after the ruling was passed. The same is true of slavery abolition. Black students were fucking prey to white kid predators in school at first, right? Obviously, the white kids are going to bully the black kids. And after slavery ended in the US, black people still got tarred and feathered and were blocked from voting and et cetera, right? So, but anyway, in terms of like the it being a federal action on behalf of black people, and in terms of the interest convergent phenomenon, the desegregation of black schools and white schools was actually in the it was in the interest of white people too, because I forget why it was, but the it was the interest convergence phenomenon in terms of the abolition of slavery was that, Abraham Lincoln wanted to end the Civil War. That's a good example of, both sides wanting to end the war. That's why it ended up happening. And uh, desegregation eventually, after the people adapted to the cultural and legal changes, it did lead to positive results. And it did benefit like black people and white people, but it took a long time. Anyway, so that is all why, according to Derek Bell, the evil critical race theorist, Brown versus Board of Education was the Emancipation Proclamation of the 20th century.